I tell you what, I'm glad I've got so many different modelling areas and interests and subjects to choose from. Because of that, I've actually ended up saving money. This is what is now known as the Troggoth Hag, all right, from Forge World. And last year, when I was building up a Troggoth army, I kept putting off getting her, all right, and putting it off and putting it off, and then all of a sudden it was discontinued. Forge World stopped producing an awful lot of their figures, and was kind of gutted because I've always had it in mind to get one, but no, they withdrew it. So immediately what you do, you go onto eBay, and immediately on eBay all the prices go up. So I was kind of like gutted by that. Did consider it briefly, but then I saw the prices they were going for, and it's like, no way. Sorry about the slamming doors, by the way. But then, yeah, a little while ago, Games Workshop have come out with the Old World game system, and in doing so, they're bringing back old models and repurposing the Forge World ones. And so this is now available. It went on pre-order 2 weeks ago. It came out a few days ago, and basically I've got this for about half the price than what it was going for on eBay. I feel sorry for anybody who, you know, succumbed to temptation and bought an overpriced one off of eBay. If you had waited, you could have got it for a lot less. So yeah, very pleased to have it. It's been a while since I did the Forge World resin kit, and just like when I've done them before, every blooming time you have this huge, humongous waste of resin. Look at that. I mean, really. Every time I've had them, they've had this. So let's just go through the bits. There's her body. This is something I wasn't anticipating. Old World are going back to the old way of doing, having square and rectangular bases. As soon as I saw that, as I was taking it out of the box, it's like, oh, I'll just substitute it for a round base to match all my Age of Sigmar Troggoths. No, because you have this lovely base, all right? Now, what I could do is cut that down and repurpose it and, you know, blend it into a round base. Shall I do that or shall I not? I don't know. Shall I? Oh, shortly you'll know. But yeah, again, another whack and great big chunk. Then we've got her ears and hair. We've got two of them, obviously. The arms and the leg parts are all here. We've got her staff just here. Lovely detail, isn't it? Look. Not quite sure what this thing is. The kit's come with no instructions, just their standard beware resin warning leaflet. Not sure where that goes. I'm going to have to go on the website and hopefully there's a clear photo. And this is going to be a painting challenge. Her bag of stuff. And you have got all sorts of stuff in there. You've got fish in there, you've got plants, you've got skulls. That looks like an octopus there, but there's a hand there. I don't know. And there's oh no, that's an octopus tentacle there, but there's a hand there. Does that belong to anyone? Not sure. I like the weights to weigh the neck down. More skeletons. Looking forward to painting this. It's going to be quite a challenge. And especially as there's a painting challenge this month at my local shop. Today's what, the 9th of April, and it's at the end of the month. Normally with a regular kit you just crack on, but I've got to crack on with removing all this ridiculous amount of resin, cleaning the parts up, and they don't look too bad. There's no mould lines, a little bit of flashing here and there. Give everything a whacking great big bath, and then it's out with the Araldite and start gluing. All right, that's her assembled. Not too much in the way of flashing to remove.
one of her rear fins that I can't really show you at the moment because we're at sub-assembly time and these are all going to fall off. I'll show you that later. One of them was slightly damaged. Yeah, sub-assemblies. So, right, assembly first then. What I decided to do was not glue both legs on at the same time. I was using epoxy resin, which gives you plenty of play time to put things in place, but just the physical nature of this, the way this is, there's no way that you could have two loose joins at the same time and then turn it over and get it to stay in place. What I did was I did her right leg first. I pinned them both as well because I know from of old with resin kits that it looks like a strong joint, but over time and years it can actually give way. So I drilled the join areas and then I pinned both joins with a paper clip. So I did the right leg first, and then I did the left leg first, which is loose, that one under there, and attached to a bit of the base. Glued that one on first. Once that had set, then I glued the right leg, which is the base, attached to the base. So yeah, that's that. The hair is just blue tacked in place, and both hands are just blue tacked. Oh, I found what that little bit was. It's the very top of her staff. As you can see, bit of a join there, but it's all right. Once I take the blue tack out, it's tighter. I've had to do a bit of green stuff around there, and also round the back. Hang on 1 second. Let me turn her around and I can show you that fin. Yeah, there's the missing fin, but that's all right. She's in a bit of a state anyway. There was quite a large gap. I glued that foot, or that lower leg, to the upper leg first, and then glued the other one on and down, and there was quite a gap. And just to add more strength, rather than trying to build up green stuff, which does the job on small joints but no good for big joints, that's milliput I've put in there, crammed that in, so it's a nice solid join there, right? So yeah, really loving the detail so far. Really smart, nice painting challenges. I hadn't spotted that you've actually got a little goblin or a gitz in her staff peering out, right? So yeah, so all ready for primer, and I'll come back once I've got a base coat on. Okay, so we're on our way. This is the base coat, which is Vallejo's golden olive, which, as you can see, has gone on quite blotchy, but that's okay, because next step is a wash of something to get into all the recesses, and then I'm going to start dry brushing it. I'm deliberately covering everything over with this colour, including the scales and the fins. I'm not keen on paint jobs where you have green skin with blue scales. It's too jarring to me. So the scales are going to be a variation or a staining of the original colour, so they're more in keeping with the rest of her.
Light is very bright, but yeah, I've washed it, let that dry. I tried dry brushing with the base colour, but it's quite an opaque paint, so that wasn't working. So I had to mix some of that with a yellow and dry brush that on. And then I dry brushed on some Nurgling green to lighten things up even more, and Nurgling green with yellow. I quite like the idea of her having yellow all in there. I've deliberately not got any of my other Troggoths out of the display cabinet, because I want them all to be different in colour. I don't want them all the same. So I vaguely remember how I go about this, and this is how I've started doing it. But yeah, she's going to be a standalone. All right, so she's coming along, just going up through the colours. My customary red nose for my trolls, red bellies, and red backside, bit baboon-like. I'm starting to pick out all the pimples, as you can see. That's fun. She's got a little starfish. I hadn't spotted that before, but she's got a little starfish, which I guess dropped out of her net. All right. So yeah, we're getting there. I've blocked in the eyes in white and the teeth in white. I put a fleshy wash over the green for the soft bit of the sail of her fins. All right. Playing around with colours for the scales. I definitely don't want to go blue. And I think I'm going to go on a green like this. And then I'm just putting different inks on at the moment. And I think I'm gonna like dry brush. All right. So that's her on my way with the staff. I quite like this dried look to the wood. It's not a fresh piece of wood. I quite like that, so I think I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to put a bit more colour in, like I've put a bit there as if it's been burnt at some point. And also I've got to pick out that little goblin fella who's peeking out of the knot hole, and there's mushrooms still to put on it and everything. I'm enjoying this, but I'm looking forward to doing the details more, like the skulls that are everywhere. And talking about details and skulls, here we go. This is her net. And what I've done here over the white is I've used a contrast paint that I've never used before called Skeleton Horde. Seemed appropriate. As you can see, I've put that on, I've let it dry, and now I'm starting to pick out other colours. Pick out things in white, because there's an awful lot going on. We've got a chest just here with a hand still clasping it. There might be coins inside. We've got skeletons. We've got hands from place to place. We've got an awful lot of armour. We've got a bird in there. Can you see just there by my tip of my thumb? There's a bird in there. There's its beak just there, and there's its wing. That's going to be blue. I'm gonna make that like a parrot. It's an X-parrot. A lot of armor, as I say, a lot of shields. Here's the octopus. Still, I'm in an iron about what color to do the octopus. Yeah, so I'm just picking things out in white at the moment. I'm thinking the skeleton and the skulls, I'm leaving in this like base coat of white and give a light wash with Agrax Earthshade. If I paint it proper bone color, it's just going to merge into everything else. All right. So that's where I am. The other development is, did I say last time? I can't remember. But yeah, I cut the front of the base off, which has made her incredibly top heavy, because I wanted her to fit on a circular base, so she would fit with all my other Troggoths. And I've just ordered, and it's just come today from Games Workshop, this 80mm base, right? Which she's going to sit on like that, and then I'm going to put lots of other rocks around to blend it all in. Games Workshop, what are you playing at, right? One singular 80mm base. Did it come in a jiffy bag? Oh, by the way, that's a bit of contrast paint. It's not a bit of snot. Did that come in a jiffy bag? You would think that would come in a small jiffy bag. No, this is the box it came in. This box was for this piece of round plastic. Outrageous. What are you playing at? Anyway, a little grumble over. I think I'm going to pick her eyes out next, so to speak.
All right, so with the face almost done, I've been picking out all the boils and the pustules that Trish sculpted on it. I've been picking them out in ivory, and you can see, to break up the monotony of doing that, on some of them I've been going in with what I am going to be doing, which is putting a little dot of plague bearer flesh contrast paint over the top to make them look a bit pussy. I might go in and make some of them red as well to make them even more angry and inflamed looking. So she's well on her way. Also, I've been working on the contents of the net. what seemed a simple job isn't. It's quite a trick actually to get them to all the separate bits to stand out. Speaking of standing out, I want the octopus particularly to stand out. So it's going to be a colour that isn't seen anywhere else. So here we go. Picked it out in lavender, and this is going to be a purple octopus. Right, I think this is the last little video before the end. So the bag is pretty much done. I've made sure to pick out the octopus in gloss varnish because I think he's the only living thing in there. He's a fresh catch. All right, and on the base, glued her to the round base, the 80mm round base. There's quite a gap all the way around because her existing base is quite thick. So I've built that up with white milliput, and in a minute I'm going to be going over that with a PVA coat, and then sprinkle lots of sand and small rocks over that, and especially down amongst her existing base to like blend the two together. So we're nearly done, and I'll come back when she's done. Well, with just over 24 hours to go, I'm done. This old hag, she's on her way to my local shop tomorrow afternoon for a game. So let's see how she's going to get on. So yeah, all done. All right. As you can see on the base, I've added some mushrooms, and yeah, they just made from milliput. I had some milliput left over when I was sculpting the base. So what I did was make some milliputs, mushrooms, and then I've used cut down paper clips for the stalks. All right, so there she is, all done. Very pleased with how it's come out. That's been a challenge doing the old net up there, but no, really pleased with how she's come out.